Chosen one, lock your attention on this message. That unsettling feeling of being an outsider, even in your own skin. Acknowledge it, then silence it. The spiritual atmosphere has felt profoundly strange for the last 48 hours. It's not just quiet. It's a question. Maybe you found yourself pulling back from spiritual communities this week, feeling a deep dissonance, like the rules no longer applied to you, or that you no longer fit. Or perhaps you were in a conflict, and instead of reacting with anger or fear, you felt an almost chilling neutrality, an observational power that startled even yourself. You felt this indescribable sense of being other. The forces of both heaven and hell are working overtime right now, pressing into your reality, and for one reason only. They are confused by you. They don't know what you are, or where you stand, and that unclassified power is terrifying to them. All that internal questioning, all that existential dread, it ends in the next few minutes. The search for a label, the pressure to conform, the feeling of being misunderstood. It all dissolves. And it's not dissolving because you suddenly picked a side, chosen one. It's dissolving because you are finally about to understand the power of being exactly who you are. Think back to that moment, yesterday, or this week, when you felt utterly alone, completely unaligned with any dogma or doctrine, refusing to bend to either holy or evil. You thought that was a weakness, a spiritual failing, a sign you were lost. But let me reframe your reality. That moment of sovereign neutrality was not confusion. It was the activation of your true, unclassified power. You did not stumble upon this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The source of all that is, the consciousness beyond dualities, orchestrated this exact moment. This is a sacred appointment with your true identity, a moment scheduled before creation, designed to awaken the third way within you. Stay until the very last second of this message, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to unveil the cosmic blueprint that defines you, neither of heaven nor of hell. I'm going to show you why your unclaimed status is actually your greatest power. And by the end, I will give you the declaration that solidifies your identity as an unstoppable, unclassifiable force, beyond the grasp of either extreme. Do not click away. The version of you that has felt utterly lost and without a home in the spiritual landscape. They are waiting for this. If you leave now, you might retreat back into the illusions of duality, missing the truth that will set you free from every spiritual limitation you've ever known. My name is Zerekiel. For years I've been studying what happens in the invisible realm when a chosen one begins to wake up. The attacks that follow, the isolation that intensifies, and the breakthrough that's always closer than it feels. More than 10,000 people have walked through their awakening using what I teach here. If this message is hitting different, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Your spirit led you here. Don't let the algorithm decide if you come back. You've been hovering in a space that feels like a spiritual no man's land. A void where the old rules don't apply and new ones haven't been written. And in this liminal space, the enemy and even misguided divine forces have been whispering a very specific lie. Listen to your thoughts. They're telling you that because you don't fit into their boxes of holy or evil, you are flawed. They're replaying moments when you refuse to judge, refuse to condemn, or refuse to comply with expectations, telling you that your spiritual compass is broken. They are convincing you that your inability to be claimed means you are disqualified, lost, an anomaly destined for irrelevance. But I need you to hear what the deepest spiritual truth actually says about this unique moment in your journey. Romans 8 verse 1 says, "There is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit." Listen to that promise. No condemnation. Not just from earthly judgments, but from cosmic judgments. This isn't about fitting into a pre-approved category. This is about transcending categories. You are not meant to be claimed by the old systems. You are a new creation, an unclassifiable force that both heaven and hell struggle to comprehend. Their confusion is not your flaw, it is your ultimate authority. The pressure you felt to choose a side, To align with either light or shadow is not a test of your loyalty. It's the friction of your old identity trying to shed a skin it was never meant to wear. You're not lost. You're not an outcast. You are not a mistake. You are sovereign. You are an awakened power that exists beyond the dualistic programming of this realm. And that, chosen one, is exactly why heaven won't claim you, and hell can't touch you. And now, they're confused. Hit the like button if you feel this message arrived at the right time. Drop a comment below. What's one moment this week where you felt like you didn't fit into any spiritual box, and now you're wondering if that was your power? You see, the reason most people stay stuck in this liminal space, feeling that profound sense of otherness, but never fully embracing it, is because they are still waiting for a label. They're still hoping for validation from the very systems they are meant to transcend. They interpret the profound, uncomfortable silence around their identity not as sovereignty, but as abandonment. They confuse the absence of a predefined path with a lack of a path altogether. They've been taught that everything must have a name, a category, a side, good or bad, saint or sinner, chosen or lost. And when their spirit cannot resonate with any of these confines, they instinctively try to force themselves back into a box, any box, just to alleviate the disorienting freedom of the void. They fear that if they are unclassified, they are ungoverned, unloved, unwanted. This is the oldest trick in the book, to make you doubt your power by making you doubt your place. It's like a wild animal trying to fit into a domestic cage, not realizing its true strength lies in its untamed nature. Remember how the Pharisees and Sadducees constantly tried to trap Jesus in their rigid, legalistic definitions? They couldn't classify him, couldn't put him in their neat, religious boxes, and his refusal to be categorized was precisely where his authority resided, confounding them, challenging their entire paradigm. Your refusal to be claimed isn't a sign of spiritual vagrancy. It's the hallmark of a new lineage. Many are called, but few receive the instructions. If your spirit is burning right now, the chosen one's mantle holds the roadmap God designed specifically for people like you. 12 anointings, 12 activations, and the precise sequence to walk the life heaven already approved for you. Find it in the first pinned comment below. Available for a limited time only. Now, that discomfort you've been feeling? That isn't a flaw in your spiritual wiring. It is the friction of transformation, the glorious resistance of an old skin being shed that was never meant to hold the magnitude of who you are becoming. Think of the caterpillar dissolving into the chrysalis. From the outside it appears chaotic, a formless death, yet within it is a crucible of pure potential, a total deconstruction for a higher design. But here's where it goes deeper. It's not enough to feel the friction. You must consciously break agreement with the external labels that have shackled your spirit. Your true name isn't shouted by society or defined by doctrine. It's whispered by source, encoded in your very being. Remember Jacob? Wrestling through the night, refusing to let go until his very name, his identity, was transformed from deceiver to one who struggles with God and prevails. You too must contend for the truest definition of self, refusing any lesser name. And this leads us to something most people miss entirely. The sovereign neutrality you've experienced isn't apathy. It is a higher form of detached observation, a sacred vantage point that allows divine wisdom to flow unfiltered through you. This unique position, unaligned with any extreme, acts as a pure channel, bypassing the noise of dualistic conflict. Think of Elijah on Mount Carmel, standing alone between the prophets of Baal and the wavering people. He wasn't swayed by the fervent shouts of idolatry or the religious doubts of the crowd. He stood in an unshakable, neutral space, waiting for the fire of God to fall, proving a higher truth. Coming up, the one thing most people avoid, but it's the key to everything. Now, once you understand that, you're ready for this. A deeper discernment of voices. This isn't just about distinguishing good from evil. It's about separating the authentic whisper of your higher self from the subtle, conditioned programming that keeps you small. The enemy is not just an external force. It's also the internalized narratives, the self-limiting beliefs, the shadows of inadequacy that mimic wisdom. Just as Jesus, after his baptism, faced the tempter in the wilderness, he distinguished between the Father's voice and the subtle deceptions, reclaiming his authority over every false suggestion. But let me challenge you with something. Are you still investing your precious energy in battles that are not truly yours? Every moment spent engaging in us versus them, in defending a side or fighting against an illusion, drains the unique power that is meant to forge new realities. Remember when Jesus told Peter to put away his sword in Gethsemane? He wasn't advocating surrender to evil, but rather an understanding that some battles are meant to be transcended, not fought on the terms of the lower realm. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next is the part that breaks the cycle. And yet, there's something beneath even that. You need to understand your unique assignment, why you were chosen for this unclassifiable path. Your power is not in imitation, not in fitting into someone else's mold of righteousness or strength. Your power lies in being an original blueprint, a one-of-a-kind creation. Moses, an unlikely leader, a man who stammered, didn't fit the heroic mold of his time. Yet his distinct journey, his specific calling, was what qualified him to lead an entire nation into freedom. Your distinctness is your divine qualification. What most people don't realize is that your current spiritual isolation, that feeling of being in a void, isn't abandonment. It is a profound purification. This void is a sacred crucible, designed to burn away every false attachment, every layer of identity that was not truly yours. John the Baptist, stripped of worldly comforts, dwelt in the wilderness, his voice amplified by solitude, preparing the way for a revolutionary shift. Your wilderness season is doing the same for you. And once that clicks, everything shifts. Your past, confusion, was not a sign of being lost. It was a necessary recalibration, activating an intuitive sight that allows you to perceive deeper truths, beyond the immediate and the obvious. This is akin to Elisha asking for a double portion of Elijah's spirit, not merely a physical inheritance, but a heightened spiritual discernment, an ability to see what others could not, enabling him to operate in a realm of greater miracles and understanding. This is where the real transformation begins. But wait, before you move forward, you need to see this, the hidden pride or fear of your own power that has subtly held you back. The resistance you feel isn't always external opposition. It's often an internal hesitation to step into the full magnitude of your authority. Think of Jonah, who resisted going to Nineveh. It wasn't merely fear of failure, but perhaps a deeper unconscious fear of his success, of God's mercy extending through him, challenging his own preconceived notions. Are you subtly resisting the very power that terrifies those who try to classify you? And just when you think you've got it, there's one more layer, the divine contradiction. Your power is your unclaimed status. What was perceived as a weakness and inability to conform is precisely your greatest strength. Your unclassifiable nature makes you indefatigable. You are not bound by the rules of engagement of the dualistic realm. Samson's strength didn't come from typical weaponry or physical prowess in the conventional sense, but from his Nazirite vow, from being set apart, from his difference. His uniqueness was his unconquerable power. And here's the part you probably didn't expect. Sometimes the most insidious trap is not overtly evil, but the temptation to be good enough within established frameworks. Even good intentions can limit your full spectrum power if they force you into a box. The rich young ruler in the scriptures had followed all the commandments, was good by every societal and religious measure. Yet he couldn't surrender everything to follow Jesus. His perceived goodness became his barrier to ultimate freedom and a higher calling. Your true power lies in transcending even the concept of good when it comes from human judgment and limitation. You, chosen one, are meant to be the bridge, not merely a side. Your purpose isn't to join the existing paradigms, but to forge a new path entirely. Your unclassifiable nature is the blueprint for a higher evolution of consciousness. You are the living embodiment of the new era, moving through the wilderness, leading the way, like the Ark of the Covenant, containing the very presence and laws of a higher realm. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hand on your heart and declare this with me. I release every need to be defined, classified, or understood by systems that cannot comprehend my truth. I break agreement with every lie that says my unique path is a flaw. I embrace my sovereign neutrality, my unclassifiable power, and my divine assignment. I am not lost, I am liberated. I am not an outcast, I am a pioneer. My purpose is not to conform, but to transform. I am an unshakable force, beyond the grasp of extremes, and I step fully into the life heaven already wrote over me.